For years, nobody even knew what he looked like. No interviews, no face, just a voice and a mixtape uploaded with no name attached. You won't see this coming. That same person had sold over 150 million records, headlined a Super Bowl, and depending on which estimate you believe, is worth anywhere from $600 million. That gap between those two numbers alone tells this story is more complicated. Then he makes hit songs. Number 1. The artist with no face. Here's what nobody tells you until you're already in. In 2011, a mixtape called House of Balloons appeared online. No photo of the artist, no name beyond EXO, just a sound nobody had quite heard before. What if the opposite of what you were told is true? Most artists build a career being seen consistently. He built his entire early buzz by being deliberately invisible. Number 2. Why the mystery worked. The absence created a vacuum, and the internet has never once left a vacuum alone. Music blogs speculated, forums argued, curiosity did the marketing, an actual campaign would have cost real money to buy. By the time he finally showed his face at Coachella in 2012, there was already an audience waiting. Number 3. The voice behind the mystery. Abel Makonnen Tesfaye, born in Toronto to Ethiopian immigrant parents, raised in Sparborg, dropped out of high school to record in a home studio. No label backing, no industry connections handed to him. Here's what a year of small changes actually looks like. Except in his case, it wasn't a year, it was closer to a decade of compounding, one album at a time. Number 4. The streaming scale today. The actual number here is almost unbelievable. Today he is sitting on more than 87 billion streams across platforms and over 113 million monthly Spotify listeners. Numbers that place him among the small handful of most streamed artists in recorded history. That's not a hit song. That's a permanent, ongoing royalty machine running every single day, whether he is releasing anything new or not. Number 5. Why streaming alone isn't the story. This popular advice is actually making things worse. Here's the part most people get wrong about music wealth. Streaming royalties, even at his scale, are famously thin per play. The real money was never going to come from stream alone. Number 6. The tour that broke records. After enough reputation, this stops being a coincidence. The After Hours Till Dawn tour sold 7.55 million tickets and generated just over $1.4 billion in total revenue, making it the highest earning tour ever made by a solo artist, and one of the very few tours in history to cross the $1 billion mark at all. Number 7. What that number actually means. This number alone should change how you think about it. Averaged out, that's roughly around 6.5 million per single performance. One night, one stage, more revenue than most small businesses generates in decade. Number 8. The YouTube surprise. Here's something that shouldn't make sense, but does. His YouTube channel has over 40 million subscribers, and the estimated ad revenue from it somewhere between $58,000 and $152,000 a month. Barely registers next to everything else in this video. Number 9. Why that's not a failure. That's not YouTube underperforming. That's just what happens when touring alone brings in $1 billion. Everything else gets dwarfed by comparison. Even a channel most creators would consider a massive success on its own. Number 10. The brand roster. This deserves more attention than it gets. H&M, Mercedes-Benz, Givenchy, Puma, and even Fortnite collaboration, putting his likeness directly inside one of the biggest video games on the planet. This isn't a musician doing ads on the side. It's a genuinely diversified fashion and lifestyle brand wearing a recording artist's face. Number 11. Why brands want him specifically. Compared side by side, one clearly holds up better. He doesn't chase every single deal available. Reports describes his brand strategy as selective rather than volume maximizing. Fewer partnerships chosen specifically to match his cinematic, nocturnal aesthetic rather than name slapped on anything that pays. Number 12. His own label. Nobody wants to say this part out loud. Through EXO Records, his own label, he retains creative control most artists at his level never get to keep. That's not a small detail. That's ownership over the actual master and business decisions behind his music. Number 13. The production company. The music was never the ceiling on this business. It was the foundation for everything built on top of it. Manic Face, his production company, extended the same ownership logic into film and television, including HBO's The Idol and the producing credit tied to Uncut Gems. Number 14. Beyond music entirely. Before this, giving up felt like the only option. He shows up at premiere for projects like Mission Impossible, blurring the line between musician and full-time entertainment industry figure. Another revenue category layered on top of the ones already running. Number 15. The $1 billion headline. Most people never see this number until it's too late. In late 2025, A deal with an investment firm called Lyric Capital, tied to his music catalog, was reported to be worth as much as $1 billion. Number 16. What kind of deal it actually is. After testing this repeatedly, the results were consistent. This isn't the same move Michael Jackson's estate eventually made with Sony. It's structured as convertible debt, closer to a loan against the catalog than an outright sale. He keeps the ownership unless specific conditions are triggered down the line. Number 17. Why that structure matters. Same $1 billion number, completely different relationship to ownership underneath it. $1 billion in liquidity without necessarily giving up the asset. That's still generating streamings, royalties every single day. That's a fundamentally different move than chasing out entirely. Number 18. The announcement that came with it. Nobody warns you about this until it's too late. Alongside with that deal, he announced something bigger than the money, that he planned to retire the stage name The Weeknd entirely, going forward simply as Abel Tesfaye. Number 19. Why he wanted to out of the persona. Here's the moment I stopped pretending I had it figured out. In his own word, paraphrase from the Variety interviews, the character had been mastered. No one was going to do The Weeknd better than he already did, and chasing more of the same accolades had turned into a race with no finish line. Number 20. The honest net worth range. Here's what's actually true once you strip away the marketing. So here's the honest version of the final number. Estimates range from around $200 million on the low end to $600 million on the high end, depending entirely on which tracker you ask and how they are valuing an unaudited, still growing catalog. So the actual lesson here is sitting underneath the mystery, the tours, the deals, the reversal. The music was never the whole business. The actual asset, the $1 billion firm was willing to structure a deal around, the one he almost walked past and then couldn't, was the brand built around his own identity. He almost gave the one thing everything else was built on top of, and then a week ago decided he couldn't. Drop a comment telling which number surprised you the most, the $1 billion tour or the $1 billion catalog deal, or the fact that YouTube barely moves a needle for someone this big. I read every single one.